Hello.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Happy Monday. I hope you all had an awesome Thanksgiving. We spent it in Jersey. Actually, we spent almost how long? We spent
A few days down
Yeah,
there.
we spent a few days down in Jersey, but it was nice. It was good to get home, see everyone, and I don't know, what did we do? Well, we left early Tuesday. Would you like to explain them what we did?
Left early. Had to make some stops on the way down and deliver a dishwasher for Marcel's appliances.
Yes. If you're looking for any, is it just like home appliances or is it kitchen? No, it's home appliances.
Yeah.
Ovens, kitchen, dishwasher, clothes. Yeah. Because we have I mess these up. We have a washer and dryer. It's fantastic.
And
I wanted red, but I was told otherwise.
you got white.
Yeah.
Everything else she has is white.
But I just feel like it'd be cool to have like one of those retro kitchens with red appliances.
If everything else was red with
Correct.
it, yeah.
Absolutely. So you have to start somewhere.
Mhm.
Awesome. So hello, Jason, Bentley, Ray, Jason, Flynn, Cody, Daryl, Darren, Tyke, Noah, Andrew, Richard, Cody, Chase. What is going on here? James, Jake, John, Skylar, Chase, Nicholas, and Larry. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so listen to this. When we did our live Wednesday night with all the guys, and everyone kept asking questions about iRacing, modifieds, I don't think we had any idea that iRacing just announced that they were doing modifieds, did we?
Well, I knew they were coming, but I
Yeah.
didn't know it was like this soon.
Yeah, which is really exciting. I mean, what's your plans? I'd imagine you're going to be racing.
Yeah, well, first I got to get my computer fixed
Still haven't figured
because
that
when
out.
I turn it on, the screen still don't work.
Mhm.
I really didn't put a whole lot of effort towards it, other than just changing the cables and turning it on and off and wondering why it didn't work. But
Oh, Caleb just asked if you ever got your computer fixed. No,
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 still not working.
no. Maybe that'll be tonight's.
It's really odd that it would just all of a sudden not
Well,
work.
It worked when you had it in the simulator, right?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, same cables, same computer, same screens.
It's a very
So.
good question.
Not really sure.
No. Let's see. Do we have Diane? Diane asked if we have new swag coming out for Christmas. She needs presents. Well, I need to verify, but I'm pretty sure I should be getting them this week. And if I do get them this week, actually I never did receive an email. I'll definitely let you guys know. But basically, yes, you will have Christmas presents that you can see. You gotta really plug that.
How does that go out? It's plugged in.
Is it on a timer?
Died again.
Every time. Just can't rely on Mike. You know what I want for Christmas, honey?
More lights?
Yep. We should have took Mom up on bringing home Christmas lights.
I don't know.
Yeah. Is it weird that we're doing this in a basement? I feel like it's a little weird. You don't?
We don't have to set it up and tear it down every time. Just leave it. It's
That's
nice.
true. That's true. I think it would be cool if we did these on like bean bags.
Be more comfortable.
It would be I mean, they rock, but
Mhm.
would you like to tell them what happened to your sweatshirt? I can see it in the video.
You can?
Yeah.
Well, this one burnt on the oven because I attempted to make Mandee dinner.
He didn't attempt. He did. He made dinner.
And
I was very proud.
the roof of the oven, as I was reaching down in, I burnt my sleeve on it.
Yeah, the oven is actually low for me. So that's got to be like extra low for him, I would say. Like extra low. So there goes It's officially a work sweatshirt.
I made
now.
broccoli. And
Oh, we're back on a healthy kick, except for the liquid beverages.
lemonade? What'd you have?
There's so much sugar in that.
Oh, yeah.
This is the M&M show. Remember, you gotta have the
I
Moscow
thought it
Mule.
was just lemons. I guess not.
No, not that kind. I can go buy you lemons tomorrow, and you can make lemonade if you'd like.
That's a real bummer.
Yeah.
Tastes so good.
John asked if I ever had the urge to give Mike a wedgie all the time. I'm just repeating the questions that are asked. I mean,
That's great.
yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, okay, we're like, this is a little personal here. Like, brace yourself, but as much as he wants to touch my butt, I get to touch his. It's only fair game. He doesn't like it, but it's only fair. Is it not? Is it not? So, just so that's out there. Okay.
John Doe.
Wait, Andrew Merritt said try replacing the memory. And then
How
Tanner
do you
Van
replace
Dorn
the memory? I mean,
says change the USB to the monitor.
okay. I can definitely unhook wires and move them around. Changing the memory or the RAM or all that stuff, I don't have enough experience with computers to know what I'm doing. I'll have to YouTube it.
There you go. Let's see. Skylar asked if there's any plans for indoor racing. Has anything been announced? I don't think we're going to be able to
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
do indoor racing.
What the deal is yet. That would be great. I'd be all for it.
There you go, Christmas. I'm thinking of on my Christmas list right now. A new setup for this.
Okay.
Let's see. Come race in
I
Australia.
think she
that'd be
thinks
awesome.
of like mid broadcast.
Are you writing it down?
No,
Zach says
but
to
it's
come
in
to
here.
Australia. Okay, all right. That'd be awesome if we come to Australia. But no, they do race modifieds, but do they still race a lot of modifieds over in Australia? Because I know Troyer has stuff over there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. That'd be cool to go.
Yeah.
Okay, Ray asks if we'll be doing an engine install video. Do I not?
I think we could do that when they come back.
What do you got?
I don't got anything.
What? I give you one time to look. Okay, let's think. Okay, Gavin asked, what do you think about Georgetown? It's his home track. I love Georgetown.
Georgetown is
They
a
have awesome ice
fast
cream.
racetrack, and
Like really good ice cream.
when I race there, I feel like the track starts off really wet, and then when it peels up, builds a big curb around the top, and for some reason, people just keep going, like blowing through and going over the bank, but yet it will hold a lot of speed. So it's tricky to run the top there, and then the bottom is so slimy that it's hard to get a good drive off the corner. But
A lot of people have the
provides
tendency
good
to
racing.
go off of the turns. Yeah.
Long ways down there for us, a lot of hours, but when I've been there, I've had fun and went well.
John, we did not plan on matching our outfits. I was gonna say I think I had mine on first, but I think you had yours on first. This morning.
Yeah, I put this on this morning. Didn't change. We drove all day from New Jersey to here.
All day in pouring rain. It was horrendous.
Yeah, the rain just never stopped.
Mhm.
Wipers on high the whole time. Everybody driving really slow because they're afraid of the rain.
Larry asked, how bad was the chassis on 35 after the October fast races? Like structure-wise.
Not bad at all. Was
it the Bridgeport race you noticed something?
at the
Or-
Bridgeport race, I got stuffed in the wall and broke one of the frame rails and just welded it back on. So not really a big deal. But at Oktoberfest, we just, went through some U-joints. I know before Weed Sport, we had the car and the trailer. Changed the drive shaft, so we, just basically to replace the U joints because they were kind of getting worn, and just maintenance. That's typical with a big block. They wear those out all the time.
Let's see. Mike, are you going to be at Big Diamond at all next year?
Absolutely. I'll be there for the North-South event for the Short Track Super Series, no doubt.
Jason White, good question. What do you think is more important, shocks or tires?
Tires, because they're the first thing touching the ground. If you don't have the tires right, then really the shocks won't matter. But pretty much when you go to a big event, that everybody's got their tires pretty well done up, and so you got to try to find the edge further in. So then I think shocks would probably be next, right next to. The motor's got to run first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're not going anywhere. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asked our thoughts on Fonda. We drove by Fonda today to pick up some tires, didn't we?
Yeah, we stopped at
like I'm pretty sure we did.
Andy's Speed Shop to turn in our certificate that expires tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
from Hoosier.
We waited until very last. The very last. Day.
So we grabbed the tire, and which was
I
nice.
thought we had 2 tires. We only got 1.
Oh, I got one a while back, and then today I got one.
Do you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it. I don't know what it is, but I hear it.
Wait, did you?
Here's a good one, Mandee. Do you prefer ice water or hot water?
It's a hard question.
Can you hear the hot water?
That's a hard question.
Like
I would say I like water with a few ice cubes in it. I don't like it too cold. I feel like my teeth get sensitive. But I like hot water with the tea.
I gotta tell you, this answer is way longer than I expected to be.
You value the questions here. I gotta put my time into it. Okay, so Bentley asked, will Mike be at the Pauch family open house? We did have plans for him to be there this past year, but of course that didn't end up happening. So hopefully, we typically like to schedule the open house when there's no big shows, like within the 3-4 states around us, so which is very hard to do, but we'll try and get him down. I mean, you probably should come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as there's no other racing going on.
Bring a race car. Yeah, that'd be nice. Let's see. Whelan asks, what's the biggest race you want to win next year? Have they even come out with schedules yet, though? I mean, we know basically what the races are.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change a whole lot year to year this time of year. What ends up happening is in the middle of the year, they'll change the dates, kind of just because of circumstances.
Yep.
But I assume all the major events will be in the same kind of order that they always are, and I think that they'll have a series scheduled soon.
So, what would be the biggest race you'd want to win?
Well, I believe Fonda and Port Royal are paying $50,000 next year, so I think that would be it.
That'd be nice. Patrick says, out of all the tracks that don't exist anymore, is there a track that you wish you could race but can't or couldn't? Don't exist anymore. I wish Flemington.
Oh, that don't exist anymore?
Yeah.
Well, we just drove by Reading the other day, and people in the vehicle that pointed it out to us and told us that how it used to be there, and the expression of just disappointment that it's not there anymore just makes me feel like, man, that must have been a really great racetrack.
Yeah.
Flemington, same way. I don't know. What other tracks are
Well,
not
I
there?
said Flemington. There's a lot of tracks that aren't around. Flemington, Reading, Nazareth, Penn National,
Oh, Penn National, we drive by
all the time.
that when we stop for fuel
Casino.
there, the casino.
Harmony was like way before my dad's time, I think. But Harmony is maybe like 30 minutes from my parents.
The trick is,
East Windsor. Yes.
Yeah.
Can't forget that.
There you go. But all of those tracks I've never actually been to because I'm
No.
too young. I never was there.
Well, yeah, but what tracks did you race at that Rolling Wheels?
Rolling Wheels is a disappointment because I used to race there, and
I was there for that track.
it's still there, but
Yeah.
somebody just needs to get it up and running.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So everyone keeps asking plans on where you're running next year. I think really it all comes down to everyone's schedules once they come out to really decide.
Yeah,
what we're
absolutely.
doing.
I mean, plan on running modifieds weekly again,
Mhm.
Friday, Saturday, and all this, try to do as many of the short track super series and super dirt series stuff we can. Probably all of it if the schedule allows, and all the specials that pay big money. So
Larry asks, are you able to talk to tires? I notice you look them over a lot in the hauler on the videos. I would talk to the tires. I brought home a plant today and I named it.
all right,
so
let's get this straight. I'm not sitting there talking to the tires. What I'm doing is math. So when you look, I
this
look
would
at
be
them
a
on
great
the.
video to do.
I organize them on the rack, and I put them left to right, small to big. So
Mhm.
like, say I got an 85 left rear, I got an 85 and 3/8, I got an 85 and 7/8, I got an 86, I got 86 and a half. I
So-
put them left to right like that.
Wait.
And then I got some right rears that are like 90, 91, 92, 93. And then what I'm doing is going, well, if I match this one with this one, I could get 7 inches. But this one's a junk tire, and I really don't want to use that. So if I really want to be able to use this tire, so if I match it with that one, it might get 6 and 7/8, but that might not be enough. It's all this contemplation of trying to get the stagger, the compound, and actually just having enough tread on the tire and that
But
it's a good tire, and whether the siping is right, and then we have time to sipe them and grind them and groove. It's just it's a lot of thought and energy put towards nothing.
I gotta say though, the commentary. I'm gonna guess Larry's referencing the commentary I did the one time. Remember, you're in the trailer. What am I doing? My hair is kind of not back.
Yeah, you were picking on me for staring at the tires. I remember exactly.
Now, when you see Mike in the trailer and you see, all right, he's to the left, he's thinking smaller tires. But if he's further to the right in the trailer, you might be looking at bigger tires. So now you know something.
Got secrets.
Let's see. Ooh, yeah, heck yeah. Mike, are you planning on racing the modified race at Sillins Grove in March? I'm just going to say yes. We're going.
Yeah.
Yes. That track is awesome. Someone had asked, where the heck did that question go? Someone asked, Robin asked, what do you think of a dirt modified road course track? Now, I know we discussed this, I think we discussed this with Dad maybe, they did an asphalt, well, gosh, 5, like more than, holy crap, 10 years ago, the modifieds went to the New Jersey Motorsports Park, which was a road course. But I think the idea of having modifieds on a road course, I don't want to say physically, but engineeringly, is not, the cars aren't set up to go like this.
They're not set up to turn right.
They're set up to go like this.
The engines aren't.
Yeah.
I mentioned this before. Like the oil comes away from the pan rails, so that it starves the motor for oil, and it's not good. But like even just turning right to get off of some of the racetracks, you lose oil pressure in circle track engines, so it's really not good to be turning right. Bill Murray asked how much are tires. They're $190 each.
To just burn off.
And then we take the grinder to them before we even use them.
It's It's really, no. The more you learn, the more you question the things that we do. Someone's asking if we're going to go to Genesee Speedway next year. Do they have modifieds at Genesee?
They do. I think what they need to do is try and get a series event, or else just put up money to have like a, like a solid
Wait, what's
modified
that?
purse, and they'll get everybody.
That was the one North Carolina.
Genesee? No, it's up.
What's the one I'm thinking of that starts with the G? North Carolina one too. Probably doesn't start with the G, does it?
I have no idea.
But Billy, at the beginning of the year. No.
You're talking about Golden Isles?
Yep, starts with a G.
Pretty sure that's further south.
But it was still starts with a G.
But anyway, Genesee is up by like Canandaigua and that area.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally way off. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Charles asked, where and why or how do you choose between 35 and 33?
Where, why, and how?
Yeah.
The 35 is my full-time job, and it's my main priority to keep that equipment in check and race as much as we can. The main reason we ran the 33 last year is because we didn't have an open small block on the 35 team. So we ran my dad's engine in the 33 at some of the events that required an open small block. But I think we're working on getting an open small block for the 35 this coming year, so we'll probably be able to do a few more of those events.
So John has a good question, which can I answer first? He asks, do you prefer winning races or championships? I personally would say winning races, because if you win enough races, it probably pays more than the championship.
Correct. And I think that's very true. The races pay a lot more than championships do, and that's the main goal every night we go, is trying to win. But I also just want to finish well enough to pay the bills so that we can keep going. Mm-hmm. At the same time. It's always in the back of my brain, like, just make sure we finish, don't wear the stuff out, so that we can keep going, because then that will lead to wins. Yeah. Like if we can keep our equipment good and race enough events, we'll get wins. Now, wins can also lead to championships, but so can being too aggressive. So too aggressive can like lead to losing a championship. Mm-hmm. So I think this year we're like trying to get that first championship at Albany Saratoga. I was a little bit on the safe side rather than just going for the win every night.
Is it offensive?
I was playing defense.
Defense?
Yeah,
defense.
A little too early, too much, and probably could have been better off, or just a little further ahead by being a little bit more aggressive.
Like, let's say when you're leading points right off the bat of the season, I mean, you still got like some wiggle room in the beginning of the season, but when you're running second points mid-season, it's like game on.
Well, it's like you got nothing to lose, so
exactly.
You gotta go.
Exactly.
Where I kind of felt like I had everything to lose, so I was trying to play defense, right, like you said. But I really wanted the championship, even though it doesn't pay as much as winning races. So I don't know, it's just something that I wanted.
So Richard asked, what factors do you consider when you choose to run big block or small block?
The factors that I choose are mainly grip. If there's a lot of grip, it's a big block. If there's not as much grip, it's a small block. The other factor would be like bull ring versus like a sweeping track. Bull rings, a lot of times you can use the big block to get up off the corner, because you got to kind of park it in the turn and get back going, where the small block really won't do that because it doesn't have enough torque. But a sweeping track, the big block wants to slide up the track, and then the small block will just kind of hold its line better and keep more momentum. So
Andrew asked if Billy saved his motor in his car after the crash report. I didn't hear it. Did you hear otherwise? Because I'm I know the motor was fine.
I think it was okay.
Yeah, like the one salvageable thing.
Yeah.
So that was good. That's an expensive piece to have to replace.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Darren Wolf says, Mike, you said about losing oil pressure. Aren't modifieds allowed to run dry sumps? Even with a dry sump, the oil pan sucks the oil off of the right side of the pan. So even with a dry sump motor, if you're turning right, the oil that's in the pan kind of gets sucked away from the scavenge lines, and it still kind of loses oil pressure. Not as bad as the wet sump, but it's still a problem.
Patrick asked if Mike has a nickname, like Dad has the kid and Billy has the kid's kid. I feel like we need a really good one. Some announcers have some, and we just need to find one that sticks. That's like, yes, this is it. So if you guys have any, feel free. Maybe we can get it to stick. Mike, have you ever raced a dirt modified on asphalt?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I haven't. Unless you count the old Middletown when it rubbered up so hard it would just go back to
Like when it would chunk out, you can see it under there. Yeah.
No, not under there, but like when it would take rubber, it was basically like pavement because it would take the tires right off.
Jesus. Sorry, that was real loud. Oh man, already? Oh no. Hang on, there's one question I'll answer. So I have, unfortunately, I do apologize, but I actually have a meeting I have to do in 2 minutes. But Mike will hang out with you guys.
I'll answer a few more questions once she goes.
Yeah. So Josh asked, do I like to watch races from the grandstands or the infield? I like being in the infield. I think it gives a more feel of the cars and the action, and it's exciting. But you can see so much more from the grandstands. So much more. I mean, for example, Albany, like just about all tracks, as long as there's something in the infield, there's going to be some place where there's an obstruction of view, which makes it really difficult to see. Like Albany, Mike can go into turn 1 and he's gone. And it's like praying for him to come out. Or, I mean, New Egypt's got the long billboard for Victory Lane. Big Diamond's got the long billboard for Victory Lane. Granby's got the billboard. Yeah, so almost every track in the infield. It's great. The action's awesome. I think everyone should at least experience it. I definitely don't think it's the most safe place. I mean, some places in the grandstands aren't the most safe either. But
they can create a safe place in the infield. Like Action Track does. They create a spot that you can stand and see the action from the infield and see what it's like and how it's different. But they have you boxed in where you probably aren't going to get hurt.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, there definitely can be places for it. But all right, I love you guys. Thank you. And darling, just hit end, and he's yours.
All right.
We'll be back. I'm taking my drink with me.
We got some funny nicknames here.
Oh, you better save them so you can. Okay, bye guys.
We got Money Man, Iron Mike, Jungle Jim, Mike, Bad Mike.
2 tall Mahini.
Yeah. Really, if you won only one big race this year, what race would it be? Port Royal would have been the one. I think that's, that just would have paid a lot of bills and would have helped me right now. Right now in the off season, what we're doing is like rebuilding everything, and everything's limited by money. So if we want a little more money during the season, we'd have a little more to prepare for next year and try to win more races. Aaron Miller asked if I ever raced RC cars. Yes. First thing I ever raced was slot cars, and then I got into the RC cars at Walt's Hobby in Syracuse, and I raced an RC truck on a dirt oval, and it was an RC 10 T3 that I just kind of modified, put dirt oval tires on it, and race that. So Bill asked if you could be a hired gun. Do you have any interest in running a truck at Bristol or Knoxville next year? Honestly, probably not. I mean, it's cool that they're doing trucks on dirt and everything, but I really don't have a whole lot of like stock car experience, and I'm really more into the like full on race car experience, like modified sprint cars, late models, stuff like that, that are meant for racing on dirt. So I don't know if I would want to do it or not. I guess it's the right situation. I guess you can never say never, but Wayne Short asked if crew members get paid. It all depends. I mean, guys with a lot of experience do get paid. A lot of times, what they're getting paid for is not just like to show up to the track, but it's to maintain the race cars. So if they have a lot of knowledge on how to do that correctly, so that you never have any failures, they're worth a lot. I mean, if you can, there's a lot of money that can be saved in the racing business by having a guy that knows what he's doing, so that you don't have issues. Because anytime you do, it costs you more money than what it would be to prevent them. Let's see what else we got here. If you could, would you switch to a late model? Says Richard Wood. I'd love to get a opportunity in late models. I think that there's a lot more money in the races, so there's a lot better chance of like making the financial end of it make sense. The hard part about modifieds for us is just that, like, even if you just finish every single race, you still probably won't pay the bills. You got to finish up front. Where there's enough big paying late model races that I think if you start out with the right stuff, maybe you could actually make money. But it's not all about money. I mean, it's all about, like, a lot of it's how the cars race and whether we're enjoying ourselves and having fun too. And I really like being able to race close to home and run all the tracks that I know and travel around. And I really like who I drive for right now, and I'm just really in a happy position. And I don't know if I would change anything other than we definitely work with more sponsors and things like that to try to make it to make our program even better. But Super Dirty asks, are the modifieds heading towards having the movement in the rear end like a late model? That's very true. Our rear ends are skewing more and hiking up more. There's more droop in the left rear, a lot more like a late model. But there's still huge differences. The late models have a fifth coil. They're allowed to run a shock and spring on the torque arm, where we just have a piece of rubber. They have full bearing bird cages and 4-link suspensions. We're only allowed to run one radius rod on each side. And so there's limitations to that, but they're doing a lot of the same things on the racetrack because of the short rear radius rods and the angle that's been put into them. Rayleigh asked if I still have my Speedster. I got one in my dad's shop, and the last time I raced it, the engine wasn't running quite right. Ended up in a bad flip, and we bought a new frame and haven't had time to switch it over because I've been focused on my modified program, but eventually we'll put that together and go back out with it. Dry Slick asked if we're going to run the pink ribbon cancer awareness scheme again next year. I definitely think we will, especially in towards the end of the year during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Taylor asked how much are shirts. We have them available on MikeMahaneyRacing.com. Everything's priced and on there. Supply's kind of limited right now, but we'll get new ones ordered for next year. Who do you think is the next young modified superstar? I think there's one that's been here in the comments, Tanner Van Doren. He won a big race at Middletown this year. He's obviously shown he can wheel modified. So love to see him get more opportunities. Tammy asked if I have brothers or sisters. I have 3 older sisters. They all support my racing a lot, and I really appreciate it. Caleb says, did a very good job coming through the field at Malta the night he broke a shock tower. That was a cool night. It was really, for our championship, it was a huge turning point so that we were able to win. I mean, if we had just broke and went a lap down, I don't think we would have won the championship, but had huge help from other teams that we were racing against that helped us change the shock tower and got me out just in time. It was unbelievable. Really, really an emotional roller coaster of a night and season, really. Jeannie asked, what chassis and motor do you run? We have all Bicknell chassis, and our motors are all Chevrolets, and there's spec 358s, there's ported cylinder head motor, small blocks, and then we have big blocks. Edward asked when we're coming back to Eldora. As soon as the series schedules another event there, which we had last year off, so I'm assuming maybe this year they would put it in. Of course, all depends on COVID. Breaker19 says you'd buy the die-cast car with the cancer scheme. I'm pretty sure they are working on coming out with that from RPM. Ray asks, when you talk with other drivers, do you talk about setups? Hardly ever, to be honest. It seems like it's always like a secretive thing. Like nobody really wants to talk about it. So most of the time I'm talking to other drivers, we talk about anything but that. Gord asks, when you go to a new track, how much attention do you pay to safety features like the fence, the safety crew, the fire fighting ambulance capabilities? As a driver, I honestly try to forget all of that because I feel like if you're focused on the fact that you could wreck, you might like make it happen. Where I just try to block that out. But when I was like crewing for my father and in other situations, I always had a lot more of that stuff on my mind. So if you are a crew member for a driver, it's good to pay attention to that stuff because the driver's probably not going to take care of it for himself. And it probably should be the driver's responsibility, but if you want your driver to be fast, you really don't want to be focused on that either. So kind of want to have somebody else handle it. Larry asked if we'd have a new paint scheme on the 35 next season. I I hope not. I really like our black and yellow scheme, and I want every car to look the same. So it would be too expensive to change it and then still have them all the same. So finally got all our cars sort of looking the same, and I want to keep it that way. Kyle asked if Bridgeport would run on Sundays, would you run there more? I think Sunday's a great night for racing. For me, it seems like you're kind of you get locked into a Friday and Saturday night track, and when a track opens up on Sundays, it's always a nice time. If your equipment's still good and you got stuff to race, might as well go. So I absolutely would try to make it to some shows on Sundays if Bridgeport or really any other track scheduled some races. And the purse was good enough for me to travel that far, of course, and not lose money. Randy Ross said, "Hi, Mike. Just wanted to stop in and say congratulations on the 2020 season and really enjoy your YouTube stuff and the good job you do." Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mike asks, what distinguishes one chassis from another? A lot of it is just tubing thickness. Most of them have a very similar design. Our modifieds all have 2x4 frame rails. There's so many rules. There's really not as many differences as you'd think between the chassis, but just how long each tube is to brace the frame up and how thick the wall is on the tubing, and how it's welded. I mean, just from one chassis to the next of the same brand seems to have differences in who welded it or what order they ran the welds, or something, because there just always seems to be small differences. Like, man, that car seems to always run better than this one. Why is that? And we try to narrow it down, but it seems to be something that I don't think everybody's really figured out. PA Native 86 asked, Mike, what's the best way to get involved in working with a modified race team? First thing is do your research. If you can learn as much as you can about the race car and prove that you know what you're doing, but not in a way where you act like you know it all and come in and start talking about everything you know. I know, which is hard, but that presentation doesn't usually go over well. But really, if I've had people that emailed me and just kind of gave me a little background about themselves, and some of them have been great help to me. I mean, so it's really been great. I mean, Mandee's kind of helped me out with that. The people that have found me through this channel that really know their stuff. Maybe not even, but sometimes it's not even about race cars. Even if you're just a really good mechanic, if you can fix things, if you're able to fix the generator on the trailer, it helps me a lot because I don't know how to fix that. I can fix the race car, but that isn't working, then I'm screwed. So just stuff like that is huge help for any race team. Darren Davis asks, what is your favorite Canadian track? I feel like it's probably Drummond. I really like that one. I also really like Cornwall. Cornwall's really fun. But the only one I've won at is Brockville in a sprint car. So that was really cool. Cool win for Doug Emery and our team there. What else we got? So Racing for Life says Devil's Bowl Speedway in West Haven, Vermont runs 602 crate engines every Sunday night and pays $1,200 to win the feature. And I think that's awesome. I really think that's a great deal for the guys with 602 crates. I don't own one and don't want to own one. I don't know what it is, but I like built race engines. I'm not really a big crate guy. I never have been. I don't know if I ever will be, but I don't know if it's partially because I worked at shops in my past when I did that. I worked in shops that build race engines and machine them and everything, and I really wish there was more of that and less of the crate stuff. But I also am big on affordability, and the crate's pretty affordable, so you can't really knock that part. Adam asks, Mike, do you think Mandee could run decent? I think Mandee would be a great driver. She's she's great on the road, and I've seen that she's proved herself on the racetrack, but it's just not something that she wanted to do. So you got to want it. I mean, she knew where she wanted to be and went in that other direction. Sir Bezelton asks, will you be coming to Grandview next year? I sure hope so. I love Grandview. Very racy racetrack. Doug White asked if I have a regular workout routine, and if so, how important do you think it is to your success? I've had regular workout routines throughout my career, on and off, and I think it's huge towards success. Honestly, this season, I feel like I faded away from workouts towards the end, and I could have been better, and I wish I had more time to put towards it. But it's also a balance. Like, does it matter if I worked out if the car isn't ready to go on the racetrack? No. So I always put that first. But if I get ahead on the race cars, it does help me in the race car to be in shape. And the next thing I'm working on getting this contraption that goes on my head so I can work out like my neck muscles and strengthen those, because it's probably the hardest thing on a race car is your neck muscle. That's doing more work than any other muscle in your body that I can feel. So it's pretty important to have that strong. But I mean, you also kind of get a workout when you race. So if you're racing all the time, you're getting a workout. So I think it's important right now for me to get into it in the off season. I'm looking this way because that's where all my workout equipment is, and I need to get back into a great routine and get myself into the best shape I can. Nick Marco, hi Mike, congratulations on a great season and track championship in Albany. What kind of carb do you run in your small block? Gas or alky size? Pros and cons, gas compared to alky. Okay, so down in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, you're allowed to run gas or alcohol. I always choose the gas because we're allowed to, but for some reason they just make it so the cars are allowed to be lighter if they run on gas. You're down a little bit on power, but compared to alcohol, but for me, I feel like when the track slicks off, the weight is always more important. So I end up using gas. And the size, you're allowed to run like a 650 or a 750, and they have like tools to check it. So on bigger tracks, you run a 750. On smaller tracks, the 650 accelerates better. Just it's all driver preference on different surfaces and racetracks, and depends on the conditions and everything. And I make that decision typically at the track. It's not something you can just show up and know already what to run. You kind of have to have both and decide. And if you don't have both, then you just run what you have. On the big blocks, we pretty much just run like an 850 and they run on gas all the time. So it's pretty easy because you just leave it. You don't have to do anything. They just, you're always running gas. You always run the same carburetor. You don't really have to change it. It's pretty easy. Really asked, how do you ship the engine back and forth to your engine builder? Shipping wise, I usually either drive it there myself or send somebody and just send it in a pickup truck. But the W16 is so far away to get those rebuilt that we actually shipped that in a crate. So we boarded it up, and I think it was like $370 or something to ship it. Quite expensive, I guess. So like if it's anywhere in the vicinity of where we are, I'd rather just drive it over. Natalie says, hope to see you at Brockville Speedway next season. I sure hope so too. I really hope they get the Canadian border open so we can go race there. And all the other Canadian tracks, I really miss it. What else we got? Cart driver asks, where's Mandee? She's up doing a video for Arbonne upstairs, and she was down here earlier, but schedules kind of overlapped, so I'm taking over answering a few questions before I quit. But General Jones asks, Mike, can you please explain the difference between big block modifieds and A mods and B mods? So big block modifieds have more of like a sprint car style looking chassis, but it's longer, wider, taller, where the A mods and B mods are more like late model rear suspension with a stock car front clip, like a Chevelle clip or something like that. Aaron Cohen suggested Fastenal shipping for big items. I'll check into that. I didn't know about that. I know that their hardware is really expensive, so I don't go there a lot for stuff. Breaker19 asks, how you like Port Royal? Hope y'all come back next year. Love Port Royal. It's definitely one of the nicest tracks in the country that I've been to, and I really hope to come back. Damien asks if I could sign his race car. I'd absolutely sign your race car. Try to do anything I can for the fans that doesn't take away from racing. So as long as we're not like super busy, I'll run over and do that. Man, this is a good question. Crimson asks, where was your first track championship in the 358? I would say it was I-88 Speedway, but it wasn't necessarily a 358 track. I was running a 358 engine, but it was more like a open small block track. So I don't know if that counts or not, but we still got the championship. Richard Wood asks, where do you get most of your parts from? The majority of my parts come from Barron's Performance Warehouse in Florida, New York, and Bicknell Racing Products, and Andy's Speed Shop. Rip the Lip asks, what's it like racing in the Super Dirt Car Series? How do you prepare against drivers like Shepard and Friesen? They are super fast. Do you think it's more driver or car? Well, it's a combination of both. Because first of all, if it wasn't for them driving the car, their car wouldn't be as good. If somebody else drove it, they wouldn't have them adjusting the car, setting the car up, etc. So it still wouldn't be as good, even if So it's a combination of both. But they're very good drivers. They're very tough to beat, and especially when both of them are there, because usually if one of them's off, the other one's on. And preparing for the Super Dirt Car Series, the toughest part is trying to have a car that's really good in time trials, but then still good in feature, and not having to completely change everything. We usually work really hard to be prepared for time trials so that we can make the redraw, get up front in the heat and transfer into the redraw. But then it seems like the conditions change so much between that and the feature that it's harder to stay up front. So staying on top of that's really hard. And there's just so much going on through the night, and you don't have a lot of time in between sessions to make these changes or work on tires or anything. So a lot of it's just done back at the shop. And so the more time we spend getting ready for any particular race, which I think, our success at Oktoberfest, we really put a ton of effort in being prepared for that. And that showed a lot. And we spent a lot of time during the day between races. And we were all tired, but we just kept digging and working at it. And just keep going. So. Darren Davis asked, do you think they should bring back the Downtube chassis? I don't, but just asking. Downtube chassis, the reason they went away from it is because they don't flex enough. The Downtubes, the front end is too rigid. So seems to only really work for sprint cars because the wing gives them enough downforce that they get grip without having as much flex. In fact, with all that downforce, maybe you get better grip without flex. But our cars kind of need some flex to them. So JD Johnson asks, how expensive is it to travel the Super Dirt Star Series? It's not as much expensive to travel it as it is just to get the equipment to run it. Having good motors and enough tires and wheels and shocks and having a decent trailer full of tools and all of that is the hardest part about paying to be able to run that. And ideally, if you're doing a series, you want to have a backup car, and hopefully that's just as good as your primary when you get it out, or else it's probably not going to run as well. So the expense it really doesn't change from your weekly events, other than just needing probably more equipment, I guess. Because you still want just as good of equipment to run at a weekly event for less money, because you still want to win. But maybe it just isn't required as much, who knows. But Racing Russ asked, who's my favorite driver growing up? My favorite driver was my dad. I watched him at Fulton, and I just loved watching him run the top there. It was entertaining, and he was a guy that worked on the farm and got to the races late and just drove the car. He didn't have the best equipment, didn't really have the time to put into it, but he still did well. John Doe asks, who has a better sense of humor, you or Mandee? What is the best practical joke you've ever played on her? I'm not a big practical joke person. She's probably played more practical jokes on me. She's always trying to scare me. But we have different senses of humor. Like I love comedy. I love watching stand up. I love watching comedy movies and stuff like that. And she doesn't enjoy them as much as I do. She still, I mean, she does here and there, but like some of the stuff, it's hit or miss with her. So we have differences there. Let's see. Comfort Family Adventures. Who pays what? The car owner, you, and sponsors. What is expected from the owner, you, and the sponsor? It's different for every team. Some teams rely all on sponsors to pay for stuff. Some teams only rely on the owner to pay for stuff, and some people split it in any given way. It's really whatever works for you. Most of us are just trying to pool as much money as possible to try to go fast, and you just do whatever you can. But it definitely relies on a lot of people to be able to make that happen. What's we got? Bob Moyer said Billy Sr. mentioned making the body smaller. Do you think it would have an effect on the handling? It would have a huge effect on handling. I think if we made our bodies narrower and got less air on the rear spoiler, we wouldn't require as much horsepower to cut through the air, and then we wouldn't have as much grip, so we wouldn't wear the tires out as much. I also don't think that we would wear the track out as much, and I also don't think we would wear the bodies out as much because there wouldn't be as much contact. Even some like the minor contact, barely hit somebody, this tin just gets bent up so easily because it sticks way out near the edge of the tires, and making them narrow and just without the downforce, you wouldn't have as much grip. The cars would be slightly slower, but honestly, sometimes slower racing provides like more side-by-side racing and makes it a little more exciting. I don't think anybody would notice whether a car's going 100 miles an hour or 105 miles an hour. Like it's just, they're both going fast. But with them next to each other, if they're both going 95 miles an hour and they're racing each other, it's exciting. So I think that getting air off the cars would make the racing better. I definitely agree with that. So have to see what happens. Rip the Lip asked, do you think there should be more drivers hiring a filmer / social media to make videos, etc., to grow the brand? I don't see many leaning into video and social media. Definitely. I mean, there's not a lot of budget for, like, if you're trying to make your race car go fast, there isn't a whole lot of budget for film and paying for that. But it also can be done relatively inexpensive. So it doesn't hurt to add to the sport. It brings more attention to your sponsors. It's definitely helped me and my team having Mandee do this. But I'm kind of lucky because she does it. And I don't have to pay her because she does it out of the love and just wanting to do it. So, Robin Thompson asks, says redraw needs to be done away with. Starting spots should be earned. That's why it's called racing, not bingo. I totally agree with that too. I think that there should be strategy and science involved in how we line up, not just a random, like you said, bingo draw. But because it just plays too much of an effect on who wins and what happens. I think that I'd just like to see, if you see the fast guys up front, they all get to duke it out for the lead. If there's a fast guy in the back trying to get to the front the whole time, you never get to see that race that could have happened. Is the thing that I always miss. That's what I think everybody wants to see. You want to see The guys that have done their homework and are the fastest, you want to see them racing each other. John Doe asks, have you ever considered hiring a psychic to draw for you? You know, I've never put that much thought into the draw, but that's quite an idea. All right, I'll probably do a couple more questions and then head out. Jesse Levy, what would you say is the best track surface you have raced on? Man, that's really tough. I think it's pretty tough to say because like there's always something that could have been better. You know, like even if the surface is smooth, like maybe there could have been a little more cushion. If it's, you know, if the bottom's great, it makes it so you can't run the top. But if the cushion's too good, nobody can run the bottom. I don't know. I just always want to see a side by side, you know, two groove racetrack. Man, I can't remember, but there's definitely been times where I was like, wow, this is probably the best surface I've ever had, but I really don't remember when it was because those are few and far between. It's really track prep. I give those guys a ton of credit because it's probably one of the hardest things to figure out to get the track to come out perfectly. But BCK49 says, what college did you go to, get a degree in what? I went to Alfred State University for motorsports technology. I got an associate's degree in that. Richard Wood says, thank you for taking the time to answer our questions. I really enjoy your insight into racing and learning more about you, Mike. Appreciate it, Richard. Appreciate all you guys sticking on that have questions. Hopefully answered a few of them. If I didn't get to them, sorry. There's just a lot. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll be back on next week, same time, same place, and probably Mandee will be able to stay on the whole time next week. Actually, I think she'll be in New Jersey, so she'll probably have one of the Billies on, Billy Jr., Senior, or maybe even BP3. Who knows? Scott McDaniel says, Mike, how come you guys do the redraws instead of doing passing points? Here's the thing I noticed with passing points. It's awesome. It makes a lot of sense, but the fans don't have a clue what's going on. So if somebody could rig up a way where the math of what was going on with the passing points was on a screen in front of the grandstand so that everybody could enjoy what was happening. Like, okay, this guy drove from 6th to 1st. He got 130 passing points. This guy started first, finished first. He only got 90. That's why he starts way in the back. Because everybody's like, well, how the heck do you win a heat race and then have to start in the back? Are you kidding me? But with passing points, the only way to really do well is to start in the back and get to the front. If you start up front, you really have no chance unless nobody passes. So there's still a problem there. One of the things Billy Sr. mentioned the other day that was kind of cool was that would correct that problem is they would have 2 heat races for each group. So say they had 4 groups and they went out with the first heat race, set of heat races. You start 7th, and you pass some cars, they document where you finish, and then you invert for the next set of heat races, and you take the average of the two. And that kind of gives you the opportunity to start in the back, start in the front, and get the best finish you can. That makes it pretty even. But the whole problem with that is that it's taking up too much time. We're not the racetrack. We want to get out. The fans want to see the feature, like, let's get a move on here kind of thing. And, so the only way to fix that is to try to have less divisions. A lot of the tracks are trying to have too many divisions to try to get money through the back gate, especially now since we can't have fans. So that is, I don't know, it's a tricky deal, and it's tough to find the balance. With that said, I'm gonna sign off. Appreciate you guys asking questions, and try to answer more next week. Thanks for watching.